Hi, I'm Mike Morales. You're watching Sipping Off the Cuff on tequilaaficionado.com and Tequila Aficionado Media. I'm here in San Antonio, and that gentleman over there,
Rick Levy in San Diego.
Rick. The neat thing about tonight is this brand. This is really interesting. 512. We awarded them a brand of promise for their añejo because they submitted their new añejo. It was a brand new expression that was in 2016. They loved they loved what we did so much that they said, "Hey, can we send you the Repo and the Blanco?" And
Of
we said,
course.
we said, "Sure." Twist our arm, right? So for
Well, and
20,
you had had the original incarnation of the
I
Blanco
I
way
did.
back,
I
and
did. And
they've gone through a whole process rebranding, and
it looked
and
like that.
we were wondering if they had tweaked the profile at the same time,
Well,
or
interesting.
since you had had it.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I at the time when I had it, um, we had nominated it as a brand of promise. I think as a brand of promise nominee. I'll have to check back on my notes. Maybe somebody watching us can tell me because we've done so many of these. But this technically could be considered, and I'll check in my records if this could be considered a resubmission of the Blanco, because at the time that was all he had. By the time you guys watch this, you may or may not have watched our open bar. We had a chance, Lisa and I, to interview Scott Willis, the owner of 512, and Larry Butler. He's part of the Butler brothers, and these are the guys that did the rebranding. And it was a fascinating hour and 10 minutes of how they came to come up with this design and what the Butler's brothers process is, and it was really fun. It was really insightful. And the interesting thing to me, what Scott had said was the same thing that you had said when we nominated it, not only for a brand of promise, but also
The value
in
category.
the value category. Because what Scott said was, when I first started this, I just wanted a tequila that was affordable, that tasted good, and that anybody could get. He wasn't out to gouge anybody. He wanted something that it was great on a picnic table, or you know at a special occasion, and it was affordable for everybody. And I thought, and all I could think of was what you said, because I hadn't priced it out. I didn't know, that, but that was his original intention. So it was kind of
Yeah.
cool that as you can see, we enjoyed a little bit of it while we interviewed him,
Well,
uh,
you were hosting the maker,
while we
so
were
you
hosting the
had open
maker.
that court.
Oh, by the way, we've been invited to their. They actually we Skyped the interview with them, and they were at what they called the 512 Casita, which is basically a house that they use as an office. So Scott has an office, Chris Kane has an office, and then there's a pool, and there's a fully stocked. It's a little house and a bedroom. So whenever they have to crash, and we've been invited to La Casa. so,
Sweet.
so so if we happen to make it up to Austin somewhere this year, we'll be sure to post a lot of live video from the 512 Casita. The things that these brand owners do. Anyway, I'm gonna look at this. Look at the bubbles on this thing.
Yeah.
As we know, this tequila is from 1137, which is
La Confradia.
La Cofradia, and you and I really enjoyed the añejo, and
Yes.
I think it actually we did award it a couple of brands of promise for the añejo. Now we're gonna retaste the blanco because it's been a long time since I've had that blanco, and I'm gonna get your initial impressions on it too. So anyway, what can we say about the packaging you haven't already seen or heard? It's it comes in a box. We did. You should, when the interview comes out, you'll enjoy it because we really dissected what all the symbolism means on the box, and how they came up with that, and which of their designers actually did all that. It was a fascinating interview, really fun couple of guys, the Butler brothers, Larry Butler, and of course Scott Willis from 512. He says that his business attire is flip flops, shorts and a t-shirt, and I said, "Hey, man, that's
Or does he work in San Diego?
yeah." That's what I was gonna say. I said, "You fit right into San Diego, man." Yeah, he really wanted a tequila that would embody his personality, and the embodiment of really the atmosphere of Austin at the time that he started the label. So really interesting, really kind of fun dissection of the brand itself and the guys behind it. So it was really fun. But anyway, I'm using a Riedel glass. You're using your handy
I'm
dandy
using the
Glencairn.
Glencairn. I'm really big on the Glencairns right
Hey, well, it's gonna take some special glassware to get you away from that Glencairn, huh?
now. they're so
Speak,
much easier to clean.
hint, hint. Yeah, that's true. It is true. I mean, you're not afraid of breaking the stem on this one. Uh, what a beautiful Blanco, man! It is just pristine. It's just shiny, as we like to
It
say.
is. It is. We're getting the on the nose. We're getting that big Lowlands profile that we're picking up in the
Yeah,
añejo.
yeah, yeah. The Añejo never lost it, which was really interesting.
Yeah, it was really agave forward in the añejo.
I'll have to ask Scott and this may only happen off camera. I I could have sworn when we first tasted this, and this was, of course, at the time I wasn't as experienced as I am now with tequilas because we've had so many since then. But there was something sweet on the nose that I didn't recognize, and I didn't particularly care for because it reminded me of the Casa Noble aged in French oak. It was almost like where am I getting that sweet nose
Well, when
when
we
it's
reviewed
not?
the añejo, you had mentioned possibly orange blossom, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And doesn't La Confradia have a lot of fruit trees around it?
They last I was there, they have huge mango trees, and if you've visited the distillery, you've seen that it's open air fermentation. I mean, you've seen there are classic pictures of you walk into a brick building and several stainless steel fermentation tanks are going at any given time. But they are open air so it's not like the door is shut or anything, but something has to sweep in from the front door, or it's a brick building, so whatever's in the atmosphere is going to work in the fermentation. So, and if you've had enough of these, enough of the from La Cofradia, it has a very distinctive stamp on it, and I can smell it in the Blanco. It doesn't give me the French oak that I thought I had smelled years and years ago when I had this Blanco. It's not as sweet, and it's more
So you thought you were smelling wood in the Blanco.
right. It was weird.
Interesting.
Maybe it was just
But they
me.
use, were they using wooden fermentation tanks at the time?
No, even this was after I had been to La Cofradia, and they're the same stainless steel tanks that you and I have seen in pictures. They're classic pictures. You can look anywhere and you'll see them.
Yeah, maybe it was just something, from the atmosphere with the
It could have been. It may have.
fermentation.
Maybe it was just me. Maybe it was just me. I wasn't as enamored with it as I am with this. This is actually really fragrant.
Yeah. So what are you getting on the nose?
Well, there's a sweetness. It's almost like a flowery sweetness, but there's a baked agave in there as well, which to me is I haven't had one Cofradia tequila that does not have that agave nose in it.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
where I mean about the stamp. Sometimes it doesn't come across in the flavor profile, but in the nose, you can.
Do we
It almost.
know do we know what ovens they're using for 512?
What are they
Are they
saying?
using their brick ovens or are they using autoclave?
As far as I know, they don't have autoclaves, but that was a long time ago. I'm not sure if they have them now. They might. I have never read anywhere where they have autoclaves.
Yeah. Well, if they're using the brick ovens, then you
Yeah,
get lots of great baked aromas from that.
sure. Yeah, as far as I know, I have never, I have
Yeah, I'm
never,
getting
I've never seen
I'm,
autoclaves, but that doesn't
I'm
mean that
getting
they.
like some fruit blossom and all the Wellwyn stuff. You get like the herbal and the citrus, but yeah, there is a little bit of sweetness on the nose.
There's a sweetness that's almost
Little,
you can't peg. It's almost like a wood sweetness, it's like sweetness from wood. But that's impossible because they triple distilled the tequila. As far as and I told Scott this, as far as I am concerned, Cofradia invented triple distillation, and we even talked about that. That out of La Cofradia comes a 3, 4, and 5 distilled tequila, and even when the quadruple distilled tequila came out, I thought, no, there's no way it's going to taste like vodka, and I was really very surprised how much more agave I got out of it, because everybody loves Casa Noble. You've
yeah.
anybody who's at Casa Noble enjoys that really hearty flavor profile at 3 times distilled. So what I did find out, the symbolism on the boxes, and apparently this is the spring water. This represents the spring water that's available in the distillery, and this represents the filtration. This little symbol represents the filtration, the triple distillation, in other words, and of course the finished product is the bubbles.
Well,
So
they have an oxygenation process that they
yeah,
use
yeah,
after filtration.
and that of course is the volcanic soil.
Yeah. There, where Cofradia is located, it's just outside the village of Tequila, but on the volcano side.
Yeah,
So they're really nestled like right at the foot of the volcano.
it's a beautiful. If you have a chance to go visit, anybody who's watching us really needs to. I would love to go back because of my first and only time that I was there. This was before they had the small boutique bungalows, the little
Oh,
hotel.
yeah,
Now
those
next
are
time I
very
go,
cute.
I want to go visit. I want to go stay and because each of those rooms they've been featured on lots of travel magazines and things like that, and they're delightful. Lots of yeah. If you follow Cofradia or you follow Casanova, you can see all that stuff on their social media. So you might want to take a look at those. I don't see anything interesting or more information from the POS, because the POS that they sent to us was for the new añejo, but it is volcanic spring water. See on the back of the POS, volcanic spring water, triple distilled. That's what the 3 drops are, and then it says 24-hour filtration. So that's the and so filtration and oxygenation, and maybe that is what's giving this Blanco the type of nose that I'm getting. I, I would imagine that these processes might be the tweak, Rick, that they
Yeah.
weren't doing at the beginning. You know.
Well,
Um,
that is really going to do a lot to smooth it out, to smooth out the
oh yeah,
profile. It's going
yeah.
to take out any of the methanols that you would get on the nose, and
Well,
yeah,
soften the nose maybe, and maybe even soften the sweetness a little bit, so it's not so pungent. At least, I'll have to ask him. I'm sure he'll be able to tell me off camera, because I'll never get him to tell me the truth, in person. I love this nose, man. This is a beautiful
it's a
nose.
great nose. It's a
Yeah,
great nose. It's again agave forward, Lowen's profile, and there's no defects in the nose.
beautiful, beautiful legs and tears. Just really
It
pretty.
really it's an enticing nose.
It
You really want to get in there and taste it.
Look how bright the color is too. It's a bright, it's a Alex and I will call it shiny, but it's bright. It's a bright. It's not hazy or it's not off color. It's just really pristine. So and that the filtration may have a lot to do with that also. So
Yeah.
There's a fruitiness in there I wasn't expecting.
What kind of fruitiness are you getting? Like citrus or tree fruit?
It was, yeah. It's more of the citrus, more of the orange, maybe even grapefruit, a little bit.
Yeah.
If I've, sad to say that I've never had is it mango trees that are out there? I've never actually smelled. I wasn't there during the blossoming season, but I can only imagine what the aroma's like in those big trees.
Yeah, well, mangoes can be very fragrant.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to call this a mango smell, but it certainly is a citrus kind of smell. It's still great, short to medium finish. It's got a great entry, man. It just kind of explodes on your
Yeah.
palate.
I think it's got like it has like this medium pop of pepper. But then I think for me, the flavors kind of stay on the palate for
Yeah,
an extended period.
yeah, it lingers. You know, it's considering that it's been filtered and oxygenated. It's got really good structure. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't cling as if it
I'm getting
had
a
like
I'm getting a
glycerin.
touch of minerality from the
Yeah,
the volcanic water. It's how would you compare this to the Amatitan profiles that you like?
Um, this is a little bit different. I would say that they're cousins. And it depends on which Amatitan tequila we're talking about, because
Yeah.
you and I are in our queue, in our lineup, in our pipeline, we have some organic tequilas that are coming from Amatitan, and those will be interesting to compare and contrast. Um, this one I think this one more represents the lowlands. Matitan has a really different mineral profile for me that I can peg, that I really enjoy. This one's kind of a combo.
Yeah.
The
So you wouldn't say the minerality in this is you wouldn't compare it to Amatitan.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Not that someone else would, but I would not, because this nose is so different. I've never had a tequila from, not to this point. I have not had a tequila from a Matitan with this much fragrance on the nose. That's like this.
Yeah.
It's mostly,
So it's more in the tradition of the Concordia
yeah.
tequilas.
It's that Cofradía stamp. I don't know how many you and I are, again, down the line in our pipeline. We have a tequila. We have 7 different varietals Armero.
Armero coming up.
We were discussing off camera how we're going to actually attack that brand, because he's got,
We also have Dos Almas coming up,
Dos
which
Almas?
is also
yep,
La Concordia.
yeah. So we've
And
got,
of course, we mentioned the Casa Noble already.
right.
And another one I have from La Concordia is Señor Rio.
It'd be interesting to see how many there are proponents of old school guys that say that they do not, that a distillery with that many brands can only make so many different flavor profiles, and that they're all going to be the same, and that's really not the case. I think if they do it, that's Cofradía is one of the more successful, probably the most successful maquiladora there is,
Yeah.
and the most trusted. There's a reason why people go to them, and it can't be all about pricing. So, I'm sure, and my understanding is that they have a different. Scott he works with a particular master distiller, so I would imagine each of these brands.
He works with Rui Trejo.
Yeah, I think so.
That was the name we got when we did the Añejo.
Okay, well, he's the one that's in charge of this particular flavor profile, and I think it's well done. I think it's a great
Yeah.
value Blanco, It's a great stand-up Blanco. I think if we're going to nominate it for Brand of Promise in that value category, it'll stand right up. The
Yeah,
you
I
can't
would certainly nominate it for Value
Oh
Blanco,
yeah,
but
you
I
can't beat
think
the
we could,
pricing.
I think we could nominate it for the Standard Blanco as well.
Mm, I think so too. I think, like I say, well, hopefully.
Beautiful profile.
It's there's a lot to now. The neat thing is, having talked to Scott, he said that he wanted a tequila that you could take to the beach or a picnic or take it to somebody's house. It was he's a shorts and flip flops kind of guy, and this one really looks good in a picnic basket, or it looks good on a nicely laid out table. It really it's an easy pickup for any occasion, and I think
Yeah.
this is what he was after,
And
and I think he accomplished it.
yeah, they're targeting the Blanco at $30,
Wow.
and going up to Repo and Añejo, it's like another $4 per bottle going up. So you can get the whole line. You can get all three for under $100.
What's
So
not
that's
to love?
that's a fantastic value.
Yeah, it is. Especially coming from La Cofradia, where on the other spectrum you have Casa Noble, where
Yeah.
of course it's to my knowledge it's still certified organic. I'm not sure if that's the case with all the new stock coming out, but we'll find out one day, sooner or later. But for now, hands
Yeah, is
high five to the 512 guys.
yeah. Congratulations, Scott. Uh, but we don't know that the agaves for 512 are organic, right?
No, they would.
We know Casa Noble was doing an organic process.
Yeah, the whole organic process is completely different, and each brand, even in a maquiladora, each brand is the one that's certified organic. So that means that before they even start, everything has to be cleaned and ready to go for just that brand. So it's not like the distillery gains anything by having an organic certification. It's the actual brand itself, and the certifications are double edged. It's from the field to the distillery, and from the distillery to the bottle. That whole process, that dual process, is what is certified as organic. So it's a whole labor intensive pain in the neck, but
Yeah.
El Consuelo, while we're doing this tasting, El Consuelo is already being shown on our networks and our social media, and that organic tequila is just, really,
Beautiful,
and
beautiful Highlands tequila.
it's just, and it's a different style. It really is. You can't really compare this to their organic
No,
line.
you wouldn't compare it to this. It's like
Or even
Highlands versus Lowlands,
well,
and this has
even its own organic line. You couldn't compare this to nobody wants that flavor profile anyway. Or if they did, they'd have to pay for it, and that's not where they went with this brand. So again, that's our take on the 512 Blanco. Again, Brand of Promise nominee in the regular Blanco category and value. And if you stick with us, you'll be able to hang out and watch us do the reposado. But for now, I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio,
Rick Levy in San Diego.
and you've been watching Sipping Off the Cuff on tequilaaficionado.com, probably on our YouTube channel or the website. If you are on YouTube watching us, subscribe down below. You might want to watch some of the other videos. I'm not sure exactly where they're going to appear, probably around Rick's face or mine.
Check out the 512 Añejo video.
Yes.
Watch for the repo.
Absolutely, and watch for the repo too. And as
And as
always,
we like to say in Spanish,
tomar sabiamente.